Hello and welcome to art class. Today we're going to be starting our portraits of empowerment. So I will go ahead and share my screen and we will get started. Here we are and present. Why do I always go to the middle? Set myself off to the side there. Alrighty, so what you see here is an example of the finished product in which I've created a portrait of Frida Kahlo, an artist I admire. And I've created a background using symbols that represent her, like the third eye symbol that she uses in her work. You can kind of see the eyes in the background, as well as some flowers that represent Mexico, where she is from. And so our goal today for our portraits of empowerment are to create a portrait that represents a figure of empowerment or someone that we look up to, and then to be using symbolism to represent the person, their history, their values, etc. That is, images that relate and show us who this person is. We're going to start out looking at an artist, Kehinde Wiley. We're going to learn a little bit about his artwork. And as you're looking at the work, I want you to consider these questions. What is important to the artist? Why do you think Kehinde Wiley made portraits? And how does the work you see connect to the theme of representation and power? Actually, I already have that video pulled up, and let's take a look. Make sure all the way up here.
Everyone is fascinated by looking at another human being. There's something very intimate about the ways that people assume that by looking at certain parts of the portrait, they'll be able to understand who these people are, where they come from, and why they happen to be in this museum today. In my work, I try to slow down and see individuals. I'm standing on the shoulders of all of those artists who came before me. But here there's a space for a new way of seeing Black and brown bodies all over the world. A New Republic is an exhibition that allows for every single moment within my career, all of the different acts, all of the different bodies of work to be seen. What you get is a diversity of experiences, a picture of what Black American kids are up to, a picture of what the global story is with regards to how young people adorn themselves and celebrate and fall in love. It's really interesting to be able to look through the history of some of the great portraits and to say, what is it about the trappings of empire and power that we can use in the 21st century? What does it look like to be graceful? What does it look like to be proud, noble? How do you look at a young Black man in American society? It's a very important question, especially at this moment in our culture. The way in which the body is seen has a lot to do with light. How does the artist choose to allow light to flow across the body? For the last 10 years, I've been obsessed with stained glass. What I wanted to do was to create a body of work in which empathy and the language of the religious and the rapturous all collided into one space. Black women have always been at the core of my thinking around portraiture. You see so many portraits where the male figure stands dominant at the forefront of the painting, and women, children, and land are seen in equal measure as possessions. In my own work, the women are strident. They take the front. But there's also a sense of mystery. We don't really know who these women are. Bound is a sculptural project that looks at the presence of Black women, all of those women that raised me, the graceful women who've been in my life over the years, but also the ways in which Black American women adorn themselves as both a type of communication act and armor. And hair is principal within that. You see hair going outside of itself, becoming so fabulous, so extraordinarily large that it folds in under its own weight. It's beauty that becomes decay. It's a place in which the imagination starts to happen. The Brooklyn Museum is extraordinarily important for me. I remember having my first exhibition here. Being able to celebrate this moment in a place like Brooklyn, where so many of the people who are in these paintings come from, is an incredible blessing. In some sense, what I'm trying to do is to come to terms with the ways in which Black American culture has been beamed out into the rest of the world. And that is a type of new republic.
Get my headphones plugged back in. And So I'm going to display this image while I talk a little bit about Kehinde Wiley. The person that was speaking in that video is the artist Kehinde Wiley, and what you see here is an example of his work from his Jamaica series, where he went to Jamaica and portrayed figures and tried to represent those people as being powerful and having a rich culture. And you can see where he's really wants to honor people and to represent them well and incorporate the symbols from their heritage, which the images you see here, especially in the background, are related to Jamaica, where this person lives. And so representation is really powerful to Kehinde Wiley. And we're going to use that idea of representing to represent someone that is important to us, someone that we admire or aspire to. I wanted to bring your attention to this exhibit specifically. I loved this analysis. In bold here, it says the subject's proud posturing refers to both the source painting and the symbolism of Jamaican culture with its singular people and specific ideals of youth, beauty, and style. So it's about representing honestly who real people are. Quote directly from the artist here, painting is about the world we live in. Black people live in the world. My choice is to include them. This is my way of saying yes to us. So again, thinking about representation and what is important to be seen. This is a quote about his work. His manner of portraying African-American men is Wiley's way of affirming their presence in a society that has long discounted or undervalued them. And lastly, another quote about his work. His portraits have the context of nobility, of import, of beauty, and import meaning importance. Oh, we will come back to that. All righty. So let's talk about how to actually get started on our work. I'm going to close out of YouTube here. I'm going to go ahead and pull over to our work. Now, what you're looking at here is a 100% finished example. And I'm not going to go through all the steps for you. I just want to walk you through everything we need to do here. I'm going to set my zoom to about 100%, and you're going to find these boxes here. This is our pre-planning, our thinking area where we're going to brainstorm. I want you to think of 5 ideas of people that you admire or look up to. I want you to think about representation. You'll notice here I picked out a lot of artists. Kehinde Wiley is an artist. Frida Kahlo is an artist. Carol Walker is an artist. So, I feel like those people represent me. But I also picked out Amanda Gorman. I respect and admire her. Her work is very inspiring to me. I put Kobe Bryant because I wanted you to think not just about artists. I mean, if you want to pick an artist, that's great. But think about the people you admire. They might be athletes or musicians or people who have made an impact in the world. Once you have your 5 ideas, and yes, you will get a grade for doing all of them, you're going to come down here to number 2, which says, who will you portray for this artwork? You can see that I selected Amanda Gorman. And then I want you to tell me, why do you admire this person? And notice it does say 3 to 5 sentences. I know we hate writing, but we're going to do it because your teacher, I want to know what is important about this person. And I want you as the artist to reflect on the things that they do that are inspiring, because that's going to inform how we approach this portrait and the symbols we include. So I said I admired Amanda Gorman because the way she speaks is very powerful and truthful. There is beauty in how she writes, but also seriousness. She's very young, but has accomplished a lot. So those are the things that I really admire about her and value about her. And so since I'm doing a portrait of Amanda Gorman, I went and found some different options. You can see the one I finally chose because I went ahead and placed it here where the artwork is going to be. So let's talk about how I actually did this. I did this through the magic of a website called remove.bg. I don't know why it does this, but whenever you click on the link, it pops up over here. I don't know why it does that, but you can click on it and open it up. And it will remove the background of a picture you find. So I've got this tab open. I'm going to open up a new tab now because I need to find the picture that I want. So I'm going to look up Amanda Gorman. And you have a whole bunch of options here. So make sure you go to images. And then even once you're on images, I want you to go to tools. And when you click on tools, you're going to have size, color, type, time, usage rates. So I want you to go to size. We want to make sure that we're using a really high quality image, not a teeny tiny one. So I want you to choose the large size. So I'm going to leave that annotated right there. So I went to tools and I set my size to large. And this is just going to ensure that I have like really high quality images. And then I want to be careful about what I choose. If I look back at my guidelines here, I said full body or knees up, and then you want to make sure that no arms, shoulders, or heads are cropped out or cut off is what I mean. Let's look at an example where it's cut off. Like this picture here, like she gets cut off right there. That's going to be very awkward if we take the background out. So we're trying to find a clear picture from kind of the knees up. So this was one that I had found, and it's a high quality image. I'm going to annotate this next step because it's very helpful to see it. I'm going to put it right here. Okay. So on your keyboard, you're going to hold down Alt and click, and you got to click on the photograph. So I'm holding down Alt and I'm clicking. Oh, I'm sorry. I clicked the wrong button on my own screen. Hold on. There we go. Alt and click. And then we're going to open the image in a new tab. When you're on Google, that's actually just a smaller preview. But when you open the image up in a new tab, it's going to open it up at a much larger size. That is a beautifully large picture. I'm going to do Alt and click again, but this time I'm going to copy image address. Copy image address. All right, ready for the magic? Go to remove background, go to paste image or URL, and you can click on this. So click on URL, and literally you can Control V. Let me annotate that as well. Text, forgot how to annotate. To paste is Control V, and that's to paste. Control V, okay, just press OK, and the magic will happen. Ah, look at that. Beautiful. Now you can see here it got cut off a little bit, but it's pretty decent. And then we're gonna also go to edit, and we're gonna click on high resolution. No, we're not. Just kidding. Is that it? That's just downloading it. That's fine. All right. Control Alt click, and we're going to copy the image now, and we're going to paste it into our work. I'm going to just fit this out so it's not so big. Control V is to paste, and it will paste that in there. I'm probably going to delete this because, as you can see, I actually already had that one in there. Let's do that one more time just to make sure we have the steps. All right. So I'm in my search program. I'm finding a photograph that I think is going to work well for this. I think that was the yellow one I tried. Maybe I can find, I love this yellow one, but I can't seem to find it by itself. It ends up so small. How big is this? Let's try it. I really want this yellow one. All right. It's 704 by 939. That's still decently big. So now I want to Alt click, and I want to open image in new tab. Because remember, the one I'm looking at right now is teeny tiny. It's just a small preview. When you open it in a new tab, it opens up the bigger version, which is what I want. I'm going to Alt click again, copy image address, and go to remove background. Okay, look for URL, click on it, Control V is paste, and press OK. And let's see the magic. Haha, magic. Okay, Alt click, which again, Alt click is just the same as a right click. Alt click, copy image now, because this is the image we want, and paste. Control V is paste. Ooh, I wonder if this yellow one is better. Okay. I mean, yes, you do look like a queen, Amanda, in that beautiful pink chiffon and your hair all done up. But that yellow, let's see. What I need to do is stretch her out so she gets bigger. Oh, yes, does the yellow look nice? The first time I did this, it was like all grainy, but that is looking so much better. Yes, I'm so excited for her to be in the yellow dress because she is so regal. Okay. And I'm just going to, place her here on this gray square that will eventually become my artwork, indicating that I have chosen this specific picture. I'm gonna move this Amanda off to the side. And I will delete that one. All right, beautiful. So I have, and feel free to leave your extra images there because it tells me as your teacher that you did the work to look at multiple images and choose the best one. As you can see, the pink one did get cut off weirdly. So even though that's like a fantastic picture, it just was not perfect for our purposes. So that's probably going to take a big chunk of time today. That's what you're going to be working on for like the most time is like finding the right picture and removing the background. And like if you get confused about how to find the picture, rewind this video, watch me go through it again, how to right click, how to alt click, how to copy and paste. Okay. I'm going to clean up my annotations here and let's go on to the next step. Oh, beautiful. That's how I zoom in. All right, so number 4 asks us, what symbols are associated with the person that you chose? And again, I want 5 ideas. So the ideas that I came up with specifically for Amanda Gorman was she went to Harvard. And so I looked up a picture. I just looked up Harvard. This was just something I knew about her life. And I noticed that like the Harvard logo had these like fantastic leaves. And my head went, ooh, that would be so cool to incorporate into the background, as well as like representing her education. So that was a great image that I found. She is a poet. So I thought about a writing pen as well as a quill. And I did end up inserting both a pen here as well as a quill. But I think the quill is just like more of an interesting shape. So I think I'm definitely going to do the leaves. I'm going to bold that to indicate my choice. Did the quill. And then some of her, I read some of her poetry. And so, if you're doing a musician, like maybe you want to use some imagery from the songs that they write, or if it's an artist, you could use images from their art. For Amanda Gorman, she's a poet, so I ended up using she writes this one poem about the describes America, and she talks at the end, she talks about the bell ringing, and it made me think of the Liberty Bell. And then of course she wrote the hill we climb, or the hill we climb. And so I thought of like a mountain. And right now, I feel like the strongest images are these leaves and this quill, but I might end up incorporating that bell as well, because I feel like that could complement it. And I liked the idea of including something from her work. So the last thing, once you've got your ideas, I want us to go ahead and start working on creating some of the images. I don't expect you to do all of them today. The way my brain works, I prefer like whatever image I'm going to work on, I like to move it to like kind of a clean area and then work on it without looking at other things on my screen. Yeah, let's maybe go to 200%. Yeah. So you can see here, I was actually doing that and building up this shape here. I don't know if I'm actually going to keep this brown or not, but it was just kind of a placeholder color until I start thinking about my color scheme next week. So let's talk about how I actually did that. What I'll do is I'm just going to do it on the other side. It's really up to you about the tools that you use. I want you to use like create these symbols and create the images that you're actually going to use for your background. But depending on what your image is, it might make more sense to use the polyline tool. It might make more sense to use the curve tool. And it might even be correct to incorporate shapes. Like, for example, these circles here are just circles. So I could use a shape tool. I'm going to use the polyline tool to start out today. I'm using Control-Alt+ to zoom in. And one thing I'm noticing is I like this stem here looks like it goes through multiple things. So I like to start at the back and work my way forward. So like I know this stem is underneath these leaves. So I'm just gonna kind of like pretend like the leaves are not there and ignore them. black line of doom. That's all right. We'll do it again. All right, and so just capturing the stem here. So like this area is going to get covered up with leaves. So I'm not super stressed about what it looks like through there. So like that doesn't look like an exact copy, but the parts that I see are correct. Okay, cool. So now if I'm building this from the back and I'm looking at this image, I'm asking myself like, which of these leaves is in the back? And this one is. So that's the one I'm going to use my polyline tool on first. And I'm going to trace it. Notice how when I get to the bottom, I'm not trying to like perfectly trace what I see. Like I'm just like acknowledging that I'm going to put more stuff on top of it. So the next one would be this shape right here. What I can see, I keep accurate, but like right here, I'm not worried at all because I know I'm going to cover it up. See, I'm already starting to cover it up. This one will be next. It's in the back there. I love this technique of layering because one, you know, with the polyline tool, if you're trying to do something super complicated, like you're gonna black line, you're gonna mess up, it's gonna end up as a black line. You're gonna be frustrated, and it's just no fun. But these are, you know, anybody can trace one leaf and it'll look awesome. And if you can trace one leaf, you can trace 10 leaves. Now, notice the bottom on that one was visible, so I did do the detail there. Did I forget this one? I did. That's okay. I'll show you how to move them. So this one actually should have been first. So I'm going to hold down Control and then my down arrow. Let me annotate that. So Control and then down arrow will move things down. And then you can also do Control up arrow to change the position of it as well. So like Control up, Control down. But generally speaking, it's a lot faster if you just work in the correct order. Beautiful. This one goes on top here. Now for demo purposes, I'm not going to actually trace all of this because y'all don't want to spend all night with me, all day with me. But you can see here, I'm making it out of multiple shapes, and that's a lot more successful. I can always edit these too. I feel like I want that to be over more. Beautiful. I like that better. And you know, this is an image that I can start to use next week for my background. And next week we are going to be making our background and you know, whatever you don't finish tracing today, we will be finishing tracing up tomorrow to create the images for our backgrounds. So please don't spend more than 30-40 minutes on this at one sitting, because again, we are going to break this up over multiple days. So let's just look at everything we did today and just kind of recap, clear all my drawings. So number one, I want all 5 of your ideas. Number 2, tell me about the person and why you admire them. Number 3, I want you to find several options for your person and remove their background and then decide which one. Remember, whichever one you really want to use, go ahead and place it on the background just to indicate your choice to me. And number 4, come up with some ideas for symbols. You don't have to insert all 5 pictures. Honestly, I would probably only insert the ones that you feel like are really good choices. And then begin, but don't do all of them. Begin working on tracing with the polyline tool. And that is it for today. Oh, I feel like this is going to be like a fantastic background. Awesome. I'm going to stop my share. Thank you for coming to art class today, and I can't wait to see who you chose. Bye. Until next time.